Are you on the phone, telephone?
Yep.
No, you're
Yes, I
on the
am.
computer. Oh, are you? Okay. Are
What,
you
can you see
on?
me?
No, no. I can only see somebody if they turn on their webcam. You have to intentionally do that. So you guys are all
Oh,
safe. But do be sure that you mute yourself um, if there's noise in the background if you're not talking. We
okay.
appreciate that. And if not, I'll mute you guys. All right, so we got the recording started. Let's kick off here. So welcome to the weekly Law of Attraction Roundtable call. My name is Kevin Young, and my wife Suzanne and I will be facilitating this evening. She's in the other window there for those of you on the computer. Our company is Personal Success Programs. We host webinars, workshops, and coaching programs based in the Law of Attraction. We are located in a suburb of Detroit, Michigan called Novi. So we are hosting these free online calls as a way to build a global community of law of attraction practitioners. That's you guys. So we believe that the more people that understand this naturally occurring law, the better it's going to be for everybody on the planet, at least those in our little community. So we are glad that you're part of our global community. So thanks for attending, everybody. So a little housekeeping. Just relax and be comfortable. Eliminate any distractions, and just keep yourself muted until you're ready to chat. Like I said, I can mute you here, so if you have any problems in the background, I'll pick that up and take care of it. There's a raise hand button in the top of your screen. If you're on the phone and you don't have a screen, you're not using the application, you can just speak up in between or anytime, really. This is a round table, and even though we'll be doing a little presentation at the beginning and some coaching of your questions, whatever you guys want to talk about for the whole hour here, either just jump in or raise your hand and we'll get to you, and whatever we can do in the hour that we have. Please note that this workshop is being recorded. And there will be an email with the link which will be sent out to you guys, everybody who's actually on the call. If you registered and you weren't on the call, then the link doesn't go out. But I'd be happy to make it available to you if you let me know afterwards if you don't get the email. Most importantly, let's just have some fun here because that's what this Law of Attraction is all about. Future calls will be held on Mondays, same time, same station, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for 1 hour. For more information about us, please go to personalsuccessprograms, plural.com, and everything you never wanted to know about us is there. All right, let's see. I guess we can just jump right into the topic. Well, so originally we had advertised we were going to talk about the emotional scale, and we are still going to do that. And then I got it in my head that we were going to talk about relationships. So we're going to do both. So we'll start off with a little background about the emotional scale and why it's important and how to learn to manage, how do you learn to use it to manage your emotions, which are your guidance, and then how they tie into relationships. So I actually have, for those of you who are actually on a computer, I have an emotional scale slide on the screen, which, like I said, if you're on the computer, you should be able to see that. So this slide and the material here comes from a 6-hour Law of Attraction Foundations workshop that we do in person coming up on June 18th, which is, I think, the Saturday, actually. So if you guys are interested in actually learning the foundations of Law of Attraction in person, you're welcome to come join us. Just go to the website to find out more about that or contact us directly. So to understand the emotional scale, it's important to step back a little bit and kind of understand the 3-step process of how things manifest. So for those of you who are new to this, the 3-step process actually starts off with asking, which is where you generate an ask or a desire from an unwanted situation. We call it contrast, and it's happening all the time. And what we usually don't know is that the actual desire that we created from the thing that we don't want, typically we're not aware of, though. It doesn't come up in our awareness as we're actually looking at the thing we don't want. But we always create a wanted situation from an unwanted situation. And that's where all desires and new ideas and awarenesses are born from. And believe it or not, they're actually being registered by the broader part of our own being, what we call the inner being or the inner voice. And so your broader self actually knows everything that you want. You've been putting it there all the way along during your whole life and actually beforehand. So there's a really rich context already known by the universe of what you actually want, everything that would light you up. And so that's actually being done automatically by you and being stored and remembered by your own inner being. So you don't have to even figure out what it is you want. You've already been doing that. That's why things like goal setting sometimes can actually take us off the path towards what we want. The second step is the law of attraction, this naturally occurring phenomenon of nature, simply matches the ask by starting to reflect the vibration of it or the frequency of it back to us. And it does that all day, every day. The thing is that there's actually, because of these two parts of us, there's what's going on in the physical brain and what's going on in this broader self, there's actually 2 points of attraction. And most people don't know that, not just the one. What we're thinking about in the physical brain in the moment is attracting in nature. At that time, whatever level we're at, we're attracting, whatever frequency. We'll go into that in a second. At the level of the inner being, where your desires are, that's also attracting at the same time. And so all the things that you want are actually moving towards you all the time because of the attraction power of this vortex. These desires that you've been creating are literally causing attraction, and things are heading towards you all the time. So the question then is, why didn't they get here? Where are they if I'm attracting them? Well, the problem is that you and your physical mind, if you're not focused on those things that you wanted and you're focused still on what you don't want, then you can't attract them. You're a different frequency. And so that's where the third step comes in, and that's called alignment. And that's where you intentionally start managing your thoughts based on how they feel. There we have somebody from Germany.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Actually, I'm in the US right now.
Are you? Okay.
Yes.
If it's okay, I'm going to put you on mute until a little bit later. Okay?
Yeah, of course. No
Okay.
problem.
Thanks. All right, that was an unexpected pleasure. Haven't seen Katerina since we went on a cruise last year.
Yeah, long time.
Hey. So a third step, alignment, is where we take our thoughts and choose them instead of letting them choose us. And most of the time we're wandering around sort of by default, letting whatever we're seeing affect what we decide to think. And then that creates an emotional response inside of us. And a lot of us, myself included, got into the habit of numbing that emotion so that things would just kind of be attracted to us, but we didn't know why they were coming to us because we didn't realize that the emotion was telling us what was going on. So that emotional scale that I've put up on the screen, for those of you on the screen, and I think a lot of you, because I know most of you on the call, have a copy of this emotional scale. It comes from the Ask and It Is Given book by Jerry and Esther Hicks. And basically it just is telling you the frequency of your thoughts. So when you're down at the bottom of the scale, and everybody's been there, including us, you have fear and grief and depression, despair and powerlessness, insecurity and guilt. And then as you move up, you get to jealousy and hatred and rage, and then revenge. And as you can feel that it actually feels better as you move up. If you're down in fear and you move up to rage, you actually feel better. And that's what we call relief. So as you intentionally or unintentionally move up the scale, then you're actually giving yourself, you're providing yourself relief as a result of this process. And so you can actually manage your own emotional state by choosing the thoughts based on how they feel. It's just not that easy to do because the training that we've been given is to ignore the way you feel and just do what society tells you or what other people have told you. But the thing is, this is also a point of attraction. So if we're down there in fear and we stay there for a long period of time, then we build up a momentum around that, and then that attracts things to us that match that frequency. And so the desires that we want, which of course are always at the top, simply can't get to us. So the secret of managing your emotions is finding any way you can to start caring more about how you feel than what anybody else thinks or anything else that's going on around you, and do things moment by moment, day by day, that give you more relief. It's just a step-by-step process. And it takes time because we all have tons of beliefs that we've learned over many, many years, I know I have, that where we get facts confused with the reality that we're creating. And all facts are actually created by us. All reality is created by us. So the thing is that you got to prove this to yourself because you can't tell somebody, we can tell you how this works, but we can't actually prove it to you. You have to do it because you have to manage your own thoughts for a long enough period of time based on how they feel, bring them up the scale, and then see what starts to show up. So that's how you kind of close the loop yourself. And as soon as you've done this, even a few times, man, all of a sudden things start showing up, the things that you want start feeling better and better, and you realize you are the creator of your reality. You are the one who's can create a wonderful, magnificent life. So that's kind of the three-step process in an overview, plus how the emotional scale works. We like to keep the emotional scale handy because it's a good reminder. If you haven't tuned into your emotions very effectively, then you can, if you're in a place where things aren't working out, just pull the scale out and you'll take a look at it and say, let's see, how am I feeling right in the moment? I'm in worry right now. Okay. So now you have a pinpoint as to where you are. You can actually then pick the direction, look at the emotions that are above it. What's above worry? Well, can I get to frustration, or can I get to boredom or contentment even? And if you can make the jump, then you actually can do that. Now, there's lots of techniques. This book, Asking It Is Given, is actually a great place to start because there's 22 different techniques by Jerry and Esther Hicks that actually help you to move up the scale in different topics and different times in your life. It doesn't matter how you do it. You can go take a walk in nature, you can read a book, you can take a nap, you can meditate. There's a million ways of moving up the scale, but it's the moving up the scale that's important, not the focusing on the thing that you want. Because when you focus on the thing that you want and you don't have it, you're actually focusing on the lack of the thing. And that keeps you down the scale and it keeps it away. So if you can't focus on the thing you want and have it feel good at the same time, just think about something else that does feel good. And believe it or not, that's what allows things to show up. It's when you focus on something that feels good. You're in the frequency of good feeling, and then those things come to you, and you are directed towards them. So that's kind of that all wrapped up in a nice little package. Suzanne, did you have anything to add to that before we go to the relationships?
No, but I have an example that happened just this weekend, how I helped a woman move up the emotional scale, if you want, and it had to do with relationships.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Well, she called. I'd been coaching her, but she called me all of a sudden desperate over the weekend and was really upset because she works for a company who had bought some carpeting from a person we actually both happened to know. And it was not holding up, and it was getting stretched out. And so when she called the person, the place that installed it, it ended up just not going well at all. A gentleman went over there and kind of, so she says, got angry at everybody. And then when it all blew up out of proportion, she was really worried because she was going to that location where the carpeting was the problem. So she was just feeling, actually, when we got right down to it, she was feeling powerless because she had, out of her heart, tried to get the thing resolved, try to have the people come over and stretch the carpet. And so I asked her, now, I reminded her, because I know her well, I know that you are really doing this out of your kindness of your heart. You just wanted everybody to feel good about the situation. That's the kind of person you are. She had forgotten that she really loves helping solve situations, and so she went back feeling a little better, reminding herself, yeah, I did that. I made that call because I wanted everybody to be happy. And in her mind, she was thinking the worst case scenario because she was down at the bottom of the scale. She was thinking that everything was going to go wrong and her boss would find out, and she was just spinning because the momentum was strong. And as I brought her back to reminding her how it felt when she first made the call to solve the thing, she got relief. And I said, and why don't we look at it this way? Maybe the guy who was causing who you think caused the situation will just actually, when you discuss it with him, he'll apologize, go over there and make everything right. And she said, oh God, that would feel good. And all of a sudden she started having relief because she was looking at it in a new, better feeling perspective. And I said, you know, anytime we're in a situation with relationships and all you have control over is the way you're going to look at it and how you want to feel about it. And I said, does that feel better? And she said, yes. And I said, great. And she said, oh, and I'm almost at the location. I'm going to walk in the door. And I said, well, wonderful. You did that out of your heart. Everything's going to work out. And anyway, she texted me later. She said, oh, that was wonderful. Everything worked out perfect. But just in that short length of time, while she was driving to the location, I know that I could feel it in her voice. She was feeling better. She knew she'd done the best she could. Maybe it was going to turn out right. It would be cool if the guy apologized. And actually, it all did work out. But, you do easily spin down at the bottom when you're, because the momentum's so strong, and all of a sudden you just think more and more things to worry about, which aren't necessarily the truth. They're just thoughts that are giving you that emotion, and having something to turn to help you refocus is wonderful. But obviously the big job for all of us is to catch our emotion early. That's why I love looking at that little emotional scale, and talking to myself. Oh, how else could I think about this? And bringing my own, energy up as I find new ways to think about it. And I love saying, I could say that better. I'll say something to myself when I'm not feeling good, and I'll reword it to myself. No, that doesn't work. No, I could say that better. And before I know it, I've actually brought myself up. And that's how I move myself up the emotional scale. Because you don't have control over any other relationships and what the people are thinking, only your own.
That's an important point, is that the relationships are a manifestation just like everything else. And the people who are in our lives at any given point in time are actually a match to us. They're a exact vibrational match to who we've been. That is, the feelings that we've been having. The people that show up, just like everything else, have to feel the same. So if you got somebody who's pushing your buttons and it doesn't feel good, it's a great reflection. It's a great opportunity to say, okay, where am I at? What is it about that I've been thinking that actually attracted the situation? Because if we're not tuned into the emotional guidance system, if we're not paying attention to how we feel, and somebody shows up that doesn't, all of a sudden pushes a button or does something mean, angry, doesn't feel good to us, then it's very easy to say, oh, that person's, that's a bad person, why did you do that to me? When what happened was you just attracted it. Because you're already on that frequency for a long enough period of time, the momentum builds up, and then at some point the momentum's built up enough that you have to have a manifestation. That's just, law of attraction just keeps building momentum as long as you stay on a given frequency until it manifests. And if you don't change the frequency, you're going to get a bigger manifestation. And that process never ends, and until we change our frequency, until we get off the subject or make peace with the subject or soften the subject in some way.
What I've noticed too, Kevin, is so many times a lot of us, including myself for many years, ignored my emotions. And so I might go off to an event thinking I'm feeling okay and have a smile on my face. But in reality, the truth is, if I'd really got in touch with how I was feeling that morning, stressed out and frustrated or something, that's really the energy I'm emanating. So then when I get to let's say the meeting, and I suddenly am surprised I attract a lousy experience, it's most likely, and I've learned to obviously check this now, but I started the day down on the emotional scale and just pretended that I wasn't feeling anyway, just put a little smile on my face and walked to a meeting. The truth is, you attract what you're really emanating, feeling on the inside. It's all about vibration. It's not about the words you're saying. Oh, yeah. How people will say, and how are you today? Oh, I'm fine. But in reality, that's just a phrase. Deep down, you might not be feeling fine. And that's what's emanating, and that's what you're attracting.
Yes, exactly. So I guess maybe we should just, for the sake of time, maybe just open it up directly to questions, so that because relationships are probably the most touchy, sensitive thing that anybody ever runs into, and it's the hardest one to unravel with the law of attraction, because we so want to be a victim. We so want to be the right guy, and that wrong person did something to us, when it's just a mirroring effect. It's just a reflection back by the universe. So if you guys want to just jump in and start talking, ask questions, be sure to unmute yourself, and you can put your hand up on the screen, or if you're on the phone, just go ahead and pop in there, and you can ask your question. Who wants to be the first brave one here on the line and ask a question, or maybe make a comment on what we just said? Maybe if you got some an experience you want to share, please go ahead. And be sure to unmute yourself first. Some of you are still muted, so that will be important to communicate. All right, so you guys it looks like nobody has a question here, so everybody's got relationships all figured out, huh?
Well, I'll hey, Kev.
Yeah, hey, well.
Kevin, Suzanne, how are you guys?
Hey,
awesome. Good. Awesome introduction, and I'll just add a little to the discussion that we just had. I was just on another call where there was a woman who was having a struggle with with a business associate, and she had paid for some services that she decided she no longer wanted, and when she contacted the woman said she didn't have the money anymore. And so there was all of this discussion about what needed to be said, and how to go about it and everything, and a lot of time and energy spent on trying to figure it all out, and what came to me, and really what the law of attraction is getting really, really clear. I asked her, what is the result that you really want? What is the outcome you want? You want your money back. You want to, have a somewhat amiable relationship with this woman in the end, and feel like it's a win-win for everybody, and so you line up with that, and then you just see it done. Just see it done. I got the money in the bank. I'm happy. She's okay. I've moved on. I found the perfect other partner, and just start playing with that energy and lining up with that energy, and then pick up the phone call, and what comes through you is exactly what works. It's not about trying to figure out what should I say, how should I make this happen, and all that stuff. It's really lining up with the outcome you desire first. And to me, I found that same experience in other relationships as well. When I'm trying to sit there and figure out what I should say or how I should go about it or what's the other person thinking, I spend a lot of time in a realm I have no control over. So.
Very
But
nice.
when I work with my own alignment, really lining up with the experience I want to have, I desire to have, and then seeing it done, seeing it totally done. Wow, I've already had this interaction, and wow, that was beautiful. That was so good. And then
Nicely
just
stated. Wow.
move forward into the experience. Yeah. So
You guys can probably tell Will has done this before. He's
yeah.
the master at focusing on the end result and getting where he wants, and that was, boy, couldn't have been done better, Will.
Yeah, thanks.
Because
Thanks.
see,
Yeah.
what Will does is he knows how to get himself, when he realizes, like all of us, you have to get to that threshold of awareness, and sometimes you're going to go down for a while before you have it. But when you have it, then you can make new choices. So it's really building the awareness level that, oh, I'm not feeling good. How do I want this to end? And I love Will's technique, and I've learned this from him over the time that we've known each other, to get out of the moment and to get to the end result. And it's always make it a positive one, and then prove it to yourself and see what happens. It's such amazing stuff.
Yeah. Well, and the truth is, there's only one of us here. There is no us and them. There's just us. There's just me, really, and there's my own reflection showing up in how other people interact with me. And when I get really clear on who I am and the relationship I desire to have, people just naturally show up that way.
Yeah, you want to be sure that everybody understands what Will is saying is that because law of attraction's exact mirroring effect, and there's more metaphysical even beyond that, but at the simplistic level, whoever's in our lives is basically us. They're our vibrational match, so they are us at that level. That's a great way to say it. I love listening to Will.
Yeah. And I love listening to you guys too, because you guys are right on there as well, and so glad to be a part of this call. Hello, Katrina.
Thanks.
Katrina, yeah, okay. We'll talk. Yeah, awesome. I'll let someone else go.
Yeah, thanks. And for everybody who doesn't know this, Will does our Monday meditations with Will. If you're not signed up for that free weekly meditation email, please do so. We can do it on our website or send us an email, and we'll be happy to get you on the list. He sent out an email of him using that beautiful voice, a 15-minute meditation, a guided meditation, which we just love it. So thanks for your input, Will. It's always wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And I see Judy's got a hand up. Judy, I'm going to unmute you here. You want to go ahead? Oops. Can you unmute yourself, Judy, and go ahead and ask your question or make your comment? I hear you there.
Can you hear me?
There, Judy? Yep.
Yeah. Hi.
What's up? Hi.
I just have a problem with the moving up the scale. It seems like I'm concentrating. I have a hard time concentrating on what I'm not trying to think about. Giving me bad emotions on the lower level.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I'm hearing a little noise in the background. Okay. Yeah, so everyone has that problem at times, and we certainly do. Getting away from the noise that you got in the back of your head, and sometimes in the front.
Hmm.
Right, and is it on a specific subject or is it just kind of in general?
Just in general, like, I don't know, for instance, like waiting on someone to call and that call's not coming and you're wondering, like, why is this person ignoring my texts or my calls? And
Hmm.
okay, so Esther would say, think about something else. How is it going to make you feel when that phone call does come through? Think about those emotions, blah, blah. But I still come back to, why isn't this person calling?
And so, what's the significance of the person calling in that context, that situation?
Uh, I guess, I guess I would be happy to talk to the person.
Okay. You're feeling maybe neglected or ignored, maybe, or something like
Right.
that, or
Yes.
kind of. Okay. Okay. You familiar with the emotional scale? I know you've
Yeah.
been to the meetings. Okay.
Mhm.
So, could you just pinpoint an emotion, maybe how it's making you feel?
Pardon me, I was just looking for it, as a matter of fact. But so I guess I would be frustration, disappointment, anger, all of
Okay.
the above.
Okay. Well, it's yeah, and you may be switching. At any one point in time, we only have one emotion at a shot. And if it and
Sometimes
what
I feel like that's another thing. I feel like I have a lot more emotions than just one emotion.
Well, at one instant in time, you only have one emotion because you can only
Okay.
have one thought at one time. But you're right, you can certainly move around a lot. And
Uh-huh.
when we change focus, if we get distracted or we think about something different about that subject, then we'll change where we're at on the scale based on what our belief is around that thing.
Right.
So typically when people tell me something has been going on or they've got a situation like this and they're getting really frustrated, they're actually a lot lower than frustration. And
Okay.
this happens to most people. Usually it's more a feeling of powerlessness,
Right.
right? I
Right.
can't control the situation.
Right.
Right? And that's where anger came from. So you're in powerlessness, you can't control it, you want to control it, you want resolution. And
Right.
so our natural place to go then to get ourselves relief is up to anger. And that's normal. You're supposed
Okay.
to do that.
Okay.
So, but what a lot of people do is then they feel guilty for feeling anger, or they'll go down back feeling unworthy or powerless, or I don't deserve to be talking to this person. They don't think I'm good enough. We got all these stories, but the
Right.
bottom line is that the emotion that is created from that is down near the bottom again. So we'll give ourselves the permission to get angry for a moment, and then we force ourselves back down to the bottom. The secret is to keep going up if you can.
Okay.
Get
Right.
really, really angry if you can. Don't do it. Don't do it around people. Okay.
Okay.
The caveat is that when you're doing this vibrational emotional work, try not to do any of it around people. You can get angry. You can feel revenge. You can feel jealousy, blame. Every emotion's valid. It's just feedback as to what our thoughts are. That's all. There's no judgment in them, except other people will judge them. That's why you do this work away from other people. But
Okay.
go put yourself in a bedroom, in a basement, in a car, and scream. Get really, really angry. How dare this person not call me back? I'm expecting them to call. Whatever you can justify in your mind, do it until you get up to at least to blame, where it's their fault I'm not feeling good. If they had called earlier, things would be better. If you can get to blame and then push past that and kind of soften it a bit, then now you start to get the control back. So that's called moving up the emotional scale. And
Okay.
it's hard to do if it's been going on a long time with a certain person.
Mm-hmm.
If you just like a telemarketer or you just call somebody, usually it's pretty easy. You don't know the person, you got no legacy with them, and you can just boom, okay, get really angry. Darn it, they're ignoring me, but you know what? It's okay. I don't think there's a reason for it. I'll move past this. I'll go do something else for a while. It's not that important in the big scheme. So you soften it and bring yourself up the scale.
Mm-hmm.
If it's somebody that you've had a chronic situation with, is it in this case, or is it just an example that you know?
It seems to be chronic lately.
Okay. So then what happens is we tend to spend more time down at the bottom of the scale, and the more time you spend at any location on the scale, the more law of attraction brings it to you.
Right.
right? You're in a loop. And so the momentum builds and builds and builds and builds until we do something about it. So again, it's the same process going up the scale, but sometimes it's harder with somebody else. So one thing is to get off the subject altogether.
Okay.
You know, when we're thinking about trying to control somebody and they should be doing this, but sometimes you just say, okay, well, you know what, I'm just going to throw my hands up for now, and I'm just going to let the oars go, and I'm going to let the boat float for a little bit.
Okay.
See if I can get my power back in some way. And sometimes stepping, see, here's the thing, it's another important thing about this emotional scale. When we're at the top, we're an open channel to source energy. We're an open channel to our own inner infinite intelligence guidance that sees everything, loves everybody, and is trying to feed that to us. And then now when we're at the top of the scale, we have the same view. So we can understand why people do what they do, and we can forgive them. But when we're all the way down at the bottom, we have very narrow vision. We have tunnel vision. That's why it's called blind rage when you're down at the bottom, because you're blind, literally. You
Right.
cannot see because you have no source viewpoint. So it's important sometimes to see if you can take a broader view and try to get the source view. Well, why would this person do this? Get out of your own shoes and into their shoes. Like, why would somebody do this? Are they really trying to hurt me? No, maybe they got distracted. Maybe that's their nature. Maybe they're afraid of me. Maybe there's something that they feel guilty about. You know, maybe they had a rough childhood. There's a million reasons it could be, but it's never about us. The only part that is about us is that we're attracting the experience.
Okay.
Does that give you any relief, just that idea alone, or
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
it a little more?
I guess probably the best thing to do, like you said, is just try to move up to at least anger. But then when I find myself angry, I'll find myself starting to text. So I'm reading the text and I'm like, oh no. And then I delete the text right away and I don't send it, obviously.
Smart. Very smart. Yeah, so good. So you're doing exactly the right thing then. You're letting yourself express the energy. Right? So good. So keep doing that in whatever way you can. Just don't ever engage another person when you're doing this work, because
Watched the movies and got my mind off of it at the movies. So then, of course, I started thinking about it right away. And so then I took a nap and now I'm on this call.
good. Yeah, and you wouldn't have even come to this call, vibrationally speaking. Something would have gotten in the way had you not done that vibrational work. So good job. You can pat yourself on the back. Nice job. See how that works?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you did, Judy, you did a great job of walking yourself up the scale, and regardless of how intentional it was, you did it. And
Well,
so
I saw your email and I said, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. So,
and there again, you wouldn't have seen the email. Something would have distracted you had you not done the vibrational work ahead of that.
right. I would have been sending those texts and deleting.
Yeah, or maybe not deleting.
Writing the text and deleting, right.
Even worse. So it sounds like you've already created some strategies for yourself, and so maybe it's just being aware that, yeah, you actually are in control of what's going on, and yeah, you're doing a good job, and just keep doing more of
Okay,
it. Find more ways to do it. Go ahead.
Question, Kevin. So, okay, so I've been watching the YouTube videos with Esther, and so you ask the universe, you put it out there, you only have to ask the one time, it's out there, blah, 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 and then you just go about keeping yourself high on the emotional scale. So you don't have to keep asking like every day?
Well, you already asked without even intentionally asking.
Right, I guess,
So
yeah.
the ask already happened in the
So I don't
moment
have to
where
keep saying it out loud like every day or anything.
Well, ask yourself this. When you ask for something intentionally out loud, what's the feeling when you're asking?
I believe that it's going to come. It's happening.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do.
Usually when people say that, is that they usually are not in joy and peace and empowerment about the thing they don't have.
No, I only about this telephone call situation, but generally I believe that because I've had it happen many, many times, I believe that I ask for something, I'm going to get it. Just sometimes it takes too long, so I keep on asking, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, so right there, so you feel the feeling, right? You went right into frustration.
Right, yeah, impatience, right.
Yeah, and so that's your clue. How does the feeling feel?
Okay.
If it's not feeling, if you can't already feel it in your possession and feel the joy of having it, then
Right.
get off the subject because
Okay.
you're in the way.
Okay. So then I don't have to remind anybody that I'm still waiting.
But in case the universe wasn't listening that day, maybe?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, no, it doesn't work
Or in
that way.
case too many people were talking at the same time or something.
Oh, okay, right. Yes. Well, I'll give you a little piece of information here about the universe.
Okay.
The universe, we are three-dimensional beings. We only have three dimensions, but the universe is multidimensional. It's also multi-focus.
Mm-hmm.
The old notions of how God was omnipresent and omniscient and so forth actually do apply to source energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, of course, over many thousands of years, people put in their own 2 cents as to what God was supposed to be, and they kind of polluted the whole message. But at the core, source energy, God, infinite intelligence, is simply energy, and it has no specific location. It's what
Okay.
we call non-local from a physics standpoint.
Okay.
So not only is it everywhere all the time, which
Mm-hmm.
means you can tap into it wherever you are, but it's multi-focus. So the same source energy consciousness can be looking through the eyes of 100 people at the same time
Okay.
and picking that up. So you never have to worry about not being listened to. You always have the loving, pure positive attention of your own inner being and source energy.
Okay.
You're always being noticed and recognized and supported and loved and never, ever, ever judged for anything you do, anytime, ever, ever,
Okay.
ever. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Conceptually? Okay. Does that help?
Well, it doesn't come faster if you keep asking.
Well, if you keep asking, it'll never come.
Okay, that's it. There you go. Okay, no more asking. And
Just
so,
allow it.
okay, so basically, I've been reading these vision books too, like how to envision things. Is that kind of the same, or?
Well, there's a fine line about visioning that I discovered the hard way back in 2008, 2009 when I had a brain tumor and I had surgery done and I was at home for a month and I'd created a vision board because I was all big into goal setting, vision boards, and making stuff happen before I got how Law of Attraction worked. And
Mm-hmm.
I was rattling around the house with nothing to do, healing, and I came across that vision board that reminded me of all the things I hadn't accomplished yet.
Okay.
And I realized that's why they weren't there, and I got really angry at the thing, and I tore it to shreds, and it felt
Mm-hmm.
so good. And
Okay.
I have all those things now.
Okay.
So if there's an advantage to any technique that makes you feel good. And so if you create a vision board, put things on it that just simply light you up
Well,
in the
I
moment.
don't really use the whole vision board thing. I just like before I go to bed at night, before I wake up in the morning, or when I wake up in the morning, I vision like, okay, this is what I want, this is how I'm going to feel. I'm visioning driving up the driveway to this particular house. I can see my daughter. I see the
Nice.
dog running up the driveway,
How
blah,
does it
blah.
feel?
Feels awesome.
There you go. That's it, right there. That's
Okay.
all you got to know. And as long as you do those things and you can keep checking in with yourself, how does it feel when I say this? How does it feel when I say this? And if it's
Mm-hmm.
all feeling great, you are on the right track. And then just let it go.
So does that kind of go with the whole law of attraction then?
That is the law of attraction.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you can't talk more than 17 seconds on a given frequency without attracting more thoughts along that frequency. And that's where the momentum builds.
Okay. So
And
when
that's
I'm
why
laying in bed visioning it, I'm basically attracting it then. If I'm
you're always
still
attracted.
feeling good while I'm visioning it.
Yeah, so all we need to do is really open the channel up and let whatever the universe can bring to us, let it bring to us.
Okay.
Because it'll always surprise and delight us with the things that we didn't even know we wanted, that we had maybe wanted since we were 10 years old. And the law of attraction will bring it once the channel is open. All we got to do is open the channel and just take the oars out of the water.
Okay.
It's really that easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I'll have a pony in the driveway?
Good. Or maybe a Ferrari, who knows?
Okay.
But
All
your
right.
energy's great, Judy.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for your question.
I'm trying.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
All right, great discussion. Boy, we covered a lot of ground. That was the perfect follow-up to the emotional scale discussion. It covered a lot of ground on how hard it can be, and then how somebody is obviously already doing it. Judy's a great example of that for us. So, who else wants to jump in? And we still got about 20 minutes or so here left. No wrong answers, no wrong questions. We love to hear what everybody has to say, and maybe you've got something you want to share about this. I see Liz's hand went up. So go ahead, Liz, unmute yourself first, and then go ahead and talk. Get yourself unmuted, Liz?
Yeah, I do.
All right. You're nice and loud.
Speaking of manifesting, what you do and what you don't want, you know, I know that I ask for things, and the big thing with me is just letting it go. Once I get to that space of knowing, and then just let it go, and just know that it's going to happen, and I, you know, if I'm at that place, I know everything is going to work out perfect for me. Although everything works out for me every day anyway, but it was very interesting because I kept hearing about really good friends of mine hurting their leg or their foot. I have one girlfriend that broke her ankle right before her selling season for heirloom tomatoes, and everybody jumped in to help her. And then my other girlfriend, who's a waitress, broke her baby toe. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's just bad. Okay, well, that's not going to happen to me. But in the back of my mind, you know, I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So what happens on Friday night, I'm walking on 2 high heels, but they were really cute shoes. And
worth the sacrifice, right?
worth the sacrifice at the moment. But, you know, I knew that I should have brought flip-flops with me because that's what I wear every day. And I wouldn't have, you know, fallen off the, you know, top of the building. Anyway, so I'm walking, and I hit uneven ground, and of course I totally knocked my foot off my shoe, and it wasn't a pretty sight, and I hurt the side of my foot. And then my brain went, oh my gosh, did I break something like they did? And I said, no, I didn't. And so my mind changed. I said, well, this is something. Then I had to really use the law of attraction and say, I'm okay. Everything always works out for me. This is just a sprain or an injury. I don't know what it is, but it's only going to be a couple days. Liz, you're just fine. You know, and I'm pissed off that I wore those shoes that I wanted to throw across the room. And because you taught me how to get angry. And then, you know, I worked my way up as far as I could. And then I could call a doctor who is a friend of mine, and he is into sports medicine. And so he tells me that it's a soft tissue injury from everything that I told him. And then these people are coming in saying, did you break it? Da, da, da. I'm like, no, I'm good. And just let those people stay away. I wouldn't even let them talk 17 seconds.
All right.
So Saturday, I was off my feet all day long. My sister brought over her office chair. She cooked for me. It was amazing. And then it felt better on Sunday. I'm like, see, okay, I'm good. I didn't break everything. It's going to be perfect. Monday I'm going to be walking. I'm going to be feeling better. I'm walking from something that I could not even put my foot down. Literally could not put my foot down on Saturday morning.
Nice.
Wow, good job.
What a great demonstration then. So contrast happens to everybody. We all get distracted.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And how it manifests can be random if we're not really focusing on anything specific, or as Liz demonstrated here, and we've all done, if you get that thing in the back of your mind, that little earworm as we call it, kind of going like, oh, that must have hurt. Oh, that maybe puts them out of commission. And you don't do anything about it, and you got a little negative emotion going, it's got to manifest. There has to be an exact vibrational match. And so that's what Liz demonstrated. But what Liz is so brilliant at is we all going to have a contrast, guys. It doesn't mean you're a bad person if you had a bad day, or I'd be really bad because I just had one yesterday. But rather that when you recognize in the moment, finally, oh, here's something that I manifested because I wasn't paying attention to my thoughts. I wasn't tuned in as much as I would like to be. I would be normally otherwise. Let's do something about it now. Because the tendency is when we start to feel sick, we hurt ourselves, or something bad happens, we focus on it. And then guess what happens? We make it longer, and it takes longer to heal. And what Liz is really good at is when she detects it, she pivots. She gets off of the subject, she broadens the concept, she changes the outcome, like what Will was talking about earlier. And how do I want it to be? How good is it going to feel when I'm up and walking quickly and easily. And that's how quickly the universe can respond. And your body's part of that. So Liz, thanks for the great, great demonstration of how to use law of attraction. Nice job.
Kevin, I just wanted to say another thing. For me, a woman that talks to a lot of people, and the big thing was not listening to what anybody else thought about it, and that was big for me. To just say no, I don't hear you, and that's how I could work on myself, because otherwise, you listen to everybody else that's not you. And then I end up in a different place.
Yes.
So Liz?
Unless it's Suzanne.
Good point there, Liz.
Liz?
Yeah.
Did you, just to say this, do you think you attract, this is Judy, I'm sorry. I can't get to that first, I can't get to the hand thing. Somehow I'm looking at a United States flag. I don't know what this is. Liz, you, in the back of your mind, you were thinking about the friend that broke the toe, broke the ankle, and all that. Do you think that, you might have brought on this fall?
Oh, I absolutely do. And, it's so interesting that you asked that question, because earlier when I was listening to the phone call and then I had to get off for a minute and then get back on, I was thinking what benefited me the most, or one of the top benefits with Law of Attraction and knowing, is that I take full responsibility for myself now.
Mm-hmm.
And taking 100% responsibility changed my life.
Okay.
And so I absolutely brought that onto myself.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I thought you were missing the whole point here.
What's that?
No, I brought it onto myself, and then after it happened, I pivoted, and then I got better.
Okay, good. Great. Awesome.
Yeah, so there's another piece in there, which is, again, what she's really gotten really good at, is that she doesn't beat herself up for making a, quote, mistake.
Okay.
She doesn't suffer guilt. She doesn't worry about what other people think. She just grabs that emotion and goes where it needs to go. That's what she said. I don't listen to other people's opinion at that point, because other people will bring you right down into the mess. They'll criticize you for doing a mistake or blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So it's hard to do at first because we're so tuned into other people's opinions, and even doctors and so forth. Like, again, Liz demonstrated this. Doctors don't know more than your inner being knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doctors don't have more power than your inner being does to heal you. I've healed a number of things, particularly over the last year, as I've been doing some really intense work on myself, that happened spontaneously after I let go of the resistance that I had on various areas and got focused on what was feeling good. And I expect things to continue to improve.
Can I say something?
Please.
The dude I was waiting on to call, guess who's texted twice during this telephone? Guess who's not texting back?
Nice. So now how much quicker do you need a manifestation than that?
A little bit quicker there, Kevin.
A little bit quicker? Be patient.
That's pretty much instant.
You just went from 0 to 60 here in about 20 minutes. So.
That's right. Well,
Nice
then you
job.
should have these calls every day, hon.
Well, we'll consider it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Just on the bad texting days. I'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah, do that. We'll be right there for you. All right, guys. I'm sorry.
Kevin,
Go ahead.
just one more thing about, changing your mind and deciding to think positive. It seems like when I do that, then really crazy, not positive things happen that I have to be even stronger. I had a friend that I hadn't talked to in I don't even know when. She's a doctor in Ohio, and asking me, don't I think I need an x-ray, just a doctor's opinion. Should I come? She'll meet me halfway. I can get realigned. It was ridiculous. And it's so funny the power, when you get stronger, then you have some stronger maybe fences to stand up to or something.
That's a very good, that's a beautiful point. And what that illustrates is momentum. So the hurting of the foot was a result of momentum in play, okay? And you're a strong momentum person. When you get focused, stuff moves, and it moves quickly. And so when it works the other way too, then if you're focused maybe without paying attention so much, and it built up to where it hurt your foot, it doesn't stop in that moment. Even when we shift the vibration, there's still momentum underway. So it's just like a car, it takes a little while to stop the car. So that you illustrated another great point, Liz, and that is that even in the moment when we pivot, the momentum may still be in play, and so we got to hang on to the positive vibration until the momentum shifts. And Law of Attraction will always catch the momentum and start turning it the other way, but it's always in response to us. So another great point.
Wow. I didn't look at it that way because just because I shifted, then the momentum would have gotten stronger if I was still in that space, and I would have been floating, or struggling upstream or floating down that river instead of, I didn't even think of that. That's so cool.
Well, it's an interesting property about physicality, because physicality, everything in the physical world is simply condensed energy, right? Thoughts are energy. So we can shift a thought on a dime, pretty much. Right, but the denser material, which is energy compressed into matter, is slower to respond. So it just takes longer for it to catch up. So that's why we got to be kind to ourselves and be patient with the universe. It'll always catch up. Yeah, another great illustration, Liz. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Suzanne. I love you guys.
Yeah, likewise. Great conversation. This is really taking on a whole new depth here. So we got about let's say we got 9 minutes total. Let's say we got about another 5 minutes of conversation we can have here on the call. So who else has something to say, wants to ask a question, something we can dive into? Go right ahead. Don't be shy. Got plenty of time here. Nothing? Everybody's lives and relationships are going really good right now? I hear laughing.
Yeah, well, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi,
Go
it's
ahead.
me. Well, has anyone read, I'm on maybe I'm new to this Law of Attraction, so I'm into this amazing book by Catherine Woodward Thomas, and it's I guess mainly talking about, it's calling in the one, and it's relationship based, but I'm applying it to my career issues as well. It's just kind of like applying to my whole life a lot, because there's so much in this book. And I guess when you're new and you're trying to figure it all out, and you feel like you want to wait until everything's aligned correctly, like where you're really in the perfect spot for everything, And so the universe isn't going to work that way, right?
The universe is always responding to the vibration that you have active in any moment. Does that make sense?
Right, but until you get more experienced with specifying that you're at your optimal level, so that you're going to have an optimal experience with either, you're going to have, whatever, find your soulmate, you're going to find your optimal job, so let's just put everything in abeyance until we're there.
Well, why wait?
Because I want it, I want to be fully evolved.
Okay.
I don't want to waste time with anything in between.
Well, see, it's sort of like saying, well, I'm going to be miserable now, but then I'll have a happy outcome if I just wait while I'm being miserable.
Oh, but I'm not miserable, though, but I'm so excited to be learning all this stuff. I mean, I must be changing just like in my own self, and then
Well, see, here's the thing. I think I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
And I'm going to reflect it back, and you can tell me if I'm on track. So you don't want to manifest a relationship or an experience that doesn't meet the more optimal view that you now have. Is that something like that? Like you don't want...
but I mean, I think I'm going to get way farther. I mean, I think I'm going to become much better, at reading myself, like these people, like everybody's saying, they can move themselves up and down the scale, and they can, for instance, in her book, she's sort of saying, like, you wouldn't want to manifest a person and focus on a particular person kind of thing. It's like, you're open to, if you are just this highly evolved person, the person you're going to draw to yourself is going to be a match.
Yeah, of course.
And so that's all I'm saying is, why waste time on anything intermediate and just
So you're
wait?
saying, but here's the thing. What are you doing in the meantime?
Evolving.
Okay. As long as you're having fun, then you get to pick.
What?
As long as you're having fun, then you get to pick what you do. It's totally up to you.
Right. Yeah, right.
You can
What?
wait, or you can play now. But here's an analogy that maybe would help. It's like, do you learn to ride a bike by reading books about bikes? You probably could, but it's a whole lot more fun to be out there sitting on the seat and kind of pushing your feet along and finding your balance, and then falling over in the grass a little bit and then getting back up. And so you can do it either way, and the choice is yours.
Right. Yeah, I guess I sort of get that. I can kind of see.
Which there's no wrong way. You can't get it wrong because you're never done. We're all eternal consciousness energy beings that are temporarily in bodies right now, and we'll be back in more bodies and more bodies and more bodies. You can't get it wrong because you always get a do-over every single day. You wake up, you can re-steer the ship in a new direction. And if you manifest something you don't want, point it in another direction the next day. And Law of Attraction will follow you around like a happy little puppy dog, always answering the call. Always, always.
Okay. Well,
So it
that's
doesn't matter how bad it gets. You can always it'll always get better tomorrow whenever we shift our vibration. But it's a really good question, because a lot of people are in that same situation. Does that make sense? Like, are we on the right track?
I mean, it does, but it certainly, there's sort of like a denial phase. I mean, not a denial phase, but I mean, an intermediate phase where you decide, the quality's just, I want to vibrate I want to be at my highest vibrational level.
That you'll never get that done. There's no such thing. Because you're eternal, there's always a new vibrational level. There is no top. Like this emotional scale, even the 1 to 22, when you're at 1 in joy, it's temporary until you have a new awareness of something. And then now you're not at the top anymore. It's a never-ending journey. And you can enjoy the journey, or you can make a lot of work. But it's a lot more fun, and it happens more quickly too if we make it fun in the interim. And it doesn't matter how you do it; totally up to you.
Right.
Just the focus on the more fun stuff attracts more fun stuff more quickly.
Right.
So it's okay to have fun now in whatever way means fun to you. Totally up to you.
Well, didn't you say something in the intro or in the email about when you haven't found new people, or that like negativity that you might get from other people who aren't familiar with the changes you're going through, and then till you find the new people to...
Sure.
How did you have addressed that already? I might have missed it because I came late.
That's okay. So yeah, the people who are in our lives right now are always an exact vibrational match to who we've been being. Right? So they're just mirroring, and they'll stay there as long as we stay there. So what I know about you is that you're changing your vibration. You're working on yourself. You're paying attention to how you feel and doing things intentionally to feel better. And so, again, the momentum thing is in play. Sometimes those people stick around longer because they're physical manifestations, and it takes a while for them to go away. But as long as, like what Liz was saying, as long as we intentionally then refocus ourselves and get really almost delusionally focused on where we want to be, and shut out the facts, shut out what other people say, the law of attraction has to catch up. That's the law part. It never makes a mistake, and it's always a response. So it doesn't matter what's in our lives. That was a creation back then, and it'll be. And so there's no judgment. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just feedback. Do I like this? Don't like it? No, let's go do something else. Okay, until it feels better to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it really does.
Okay, that was a great question. Thanks for bringing that up. Anything else on that before we wrap up? Are you good?
Oh, I'm good. No, I'm fine.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Powerful stuff time. Man, we just dove right into the deep end and swam around here together. This is really good stuff here. Really good stuff.
Comment there.
Oh, please. Yeah, Suze, go ahead.
Okay. What I think part of her question was, she's on the process of evolving. She wants to be highly evolved before she eventually attracts that ideal partner. partner. But what I've learned from my own experience, luckily, is while I was evolving, I certainly never will get it done. Kevin and I were attracted to each other, and then we evolved together. I mean, we kept growing and learning. And how
Yeah, that's cool.
yes,
Yeah.
and, yeah, I never knew that would happen, but that's exactly how it unfolded. I was growing, I attracted someone else who wanted to grow. We were on the same journey, and we had this wonderful experience that we keep growing together. So it can always work out.
Yeah, right. You just found you were on the same level. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're an evolving person,
Uh-huh.
right? Or you wouldn't be on this call. So
I certainly hope so.
yeah, well, you're already in a right. You already have a point of attraction going for somebody else who's an evolving person too. So nice
Yay.
job.
Okay,
Yay.
cool.
All right, guys, let's get wrapped up here. We're at the bottom of the hour. Excellent conversation. Thank you so much, everybody, for your participation. I'm going to bring us here to the ending slide here. And so you'll receive an email in probably an hour or so, hopefully, with a link to the recording. If you guys want to play it back, you're welcome to do so. And if you didn't get it and you want it, just send me an email at kevin@psprograms.com, and I'll be happy to send that to you. Future calls, Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the near future. If you want to learn more about our workshops and the stuff that we talked about today, send us an email, give us a call, 248-349-6225, or visit us online at personalsuccessprograms.com. All right, guys, thanks again for a wonderful call. Thanks for joining us, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for your coaching. It's priceless.
Thank you, everybody.
And you know what? If anybody, I didn't get here all by myself. I got here with a lot of coaching from you too, and I'm really grateful I was able to do that and take out the time to do women's awareness and take out the time to do personal coaching with Kevin. Love you guys.
Love you too, Liz. Thanks. Bye-bye now.
Good job. We'll see you too.
All right. Bye, Will.
Bye, Susan.